I'm up over my knees in snow here. Crazy. Over the last few days, we got a major dumping of snow. We got probably about 1.5 feet of snow. And in some spots here, I'm up to, honestly, 2.5 feet. It's like well over my knees. I'm getting stuck in the snow when I'm walking. I came out to turn on the snowblower. So I was pulling on it and I ripped the cord right off. It snapped. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just plug it in because it has an electric start, and I've got a Honda generator back here. This thing is from 1987, from the year I was born, and it fires up every single time. Within like 2-3 pulls, it's always running. So I go to start the generator won't start. So I start looking at it closer, and I see that something has chewed the wires, and so all the wires to the motor are all not connected anymore. So I can't use the electric start on this. I can't drive my truck closer to plug it in. Where I am is quite far from where the truck is, and the snow is just way too deep. So I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna shovel it by hand. And my driveway is not short, and usually I use a snowblower and kind of plow a path over to the animals and over to the feed shed, so it's easier to walk in for me and the kids, and same with over the wood pile. But I guess we'll be doing it by hand today. I'm gonna keep this really short because it's super windy, and I can hear the neighbor's snowmobile going around in the background, so it's kind of loud. I'm out here shoveling. Oh, Jesus. That is how windy it is. It keeps blowing over. Okay. So I'm out here shoveling, and the snow is deep, and I'm shoveling it literally by hand with a shovel. And this lovely man on a tractor shows up and opens his door. He's like, hey, need a hand? And I was like, honestly, yeah. I mean, I'm not usually one to ask for help, but this is deep. This is really deep snow, and it was super heavy because I haven't been here in a few days. So with all the wind and everything, it just kind of like packed it down into concrete, and it was so heavy. Anyways, so the driveway is done. Now I can't set the tripod down because it's so windy, it's blowing over. So I'm gonna go and try and dig out the animals so I can feed them. I still managed to get 7 eggs today. Crazy. Their water bowls are somewhere in here, and I don't know where. Probably should have done that before I put 7 eggs in my pocket, because it was very hard to shovel that without breaking the eggs in my pocket. As you can see, the snowplow went by and knocked over my egg stand, so it is really in there. It is cold out there. Oh my goodness. But my head is sweating from that beaver hat. Oh my God. The guy who ended up stopping to plow my driveway came back around. He was just leaving in his personal vehicle, so we stopped because I was still out there. And I was like, thanks so much for stopping and helping me. He's like, no problem. I stopped because I really like your hat. So the big beaver hat and the sweaty head I have now were totally worth it because that would have taken a long time to shovel. Now that the snow is all taken care of and the animals have been dug out, it's time to get on with my regular Sunday baking. On Sunday, I always do all the prep for the week, which means I make sandwich bread, I make all the baked goods for the kids' lunches, and we always have a full sit-down dinner. Tonight I'm making spaghetti with meat sauce, and I'm gonna make a jalapeno cheddar bread to go with it. This is just my sandwich bread for the week because the kids like to eat toast in the morning before school. I also made some yogurt last night, and I strained that this morning, and I'll use that to make my mini cheesecakes for the kids' lunches. Lots of baking, lots of cooking to do today, and it's a perfect day for it because it's very cold and very windy outside, so it's a great day to be inside. So I put my bread dough on earlier before I went outside to start shoveling the snow, so when I came back in, it was already done in the bread maker. I just greased my pan, and the dough is now in there, and I'll put it in front of the wood stove. And the reason I use the square pan is because it keeps the whole loaf square, and it fits in the toaster nicely for sandwiches. So if I leave the lid off, traditionally when you make bread and you make it in a bread pan, it gets that really curved top, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. But the kids like their sandwiches square because then they fit in the toaster all at once. When I make the loaf that has a big curve on top, it gets so big, they have to take the toast out, flip it over, and put it back in. So they like the square bread. That's why I use this. And I can link the bread pan in the description below. I really like the bread pan. So all I do is put that in front of the fire, and when it gets, I would say 3/4 of the side, I put the lid on so it can't get any taller. Since I already have a giant mess of flour out, I'm going to start making the jalapeno cheddar bread for tonight. And as you can see, I've got tons of eggs here, so that is why we are having spaghetti, because I'm going to make some homemade pasta and use up some of these eggs. So first things first, I'm going to make my bread, and this is a really easy recipe. I've been making bread for about 3 years, and at first it seemed super daunting to make sure that I put time aside to make the bread so that we had sandwich bread or any other kind of bread that we want for the rest of the week. If I don't make the bread, then we don't have it. So I always find some time on Sunday to do all of my prep, all of my baking for the whole week, and that includes making bread. This is just a special bread that I'm making tonight to go dinner. These are jalapenos from my garden that I pickled, and I find them to be incredibly hot, but I'm putting them in anyways. So I'm putting those in, and just some cheddar cheese. If you've ever considered making your own bread, but you feel a little bit overwhelmed by the process, I definitely recommend getting a bread maker. It's a great way to start. They're relatively inexpensive. You can usually find one in a secondhand shop. The only thing is they don't come with the manual and the recipe book, but you can usually download them online. That's how I started, was with the bread maker. Not only do I use it for making bread, but I use it for making yogurt. I use it for making the dough for my sandwich bread. I use it for making the dough for my bagels. I use it for all kinds of stuff. So if you do want to make bread, I would recommend starting with a bread maker because it's pretty much no fail. As long as you follow the recipe, you can't mess up the bread in the bread maker because it does all the work for you. Let's go put this by the fire. This one's pretty much done now. It's risen quite a bit. Okay, while the sandwich bread's cooking and the other bread is rising by the fire, I'm going to make the dough for my pasta and let that rest. And then while that's resting and that's cooking and that's rising, I'm gonna start my baking for the week. So I need to make muffins, cookies, and mini cheesecakes, and I'm gonna try and squeeze in granola bars, but I don't know if I'm gonna have time. So yesterday we came back from our fishing trip up at Nicole's place. We drove 9 hours through the worst storm of the year, right through a blizzard. It was so bad. And I go up to my room to unpack my stuff and I notice, that's weird, you know, all my flowers have been knocked over in my room. And not just knocked over, I mean like they were thrown around my room for some reason. So I thought, okay, worst case scenario, we've got a rat in here. That's what I was thinking. There's gotta be a rat or like a mouse or something. So as I'm cleaning it up in the dark, mind you, because I don't have lights in my room because my side of the house was never finished. So I'm cleaning it up basically with a flashlight and I'm sweeping it up and I'm looking at the pile and I'm like, there's no, you know, rat poop in here. There's no mouse poop in here. What could possibly have been in here throwing all my stuff around? So I go downstairs, I put my pizza in the oven, and I decide I'm gonna take a shower while the pizza's cooking. So I go back upstairs in the dark, and I see something go whipping by my face. And I saw that whatever it was went into Abby's room. So I go into Abby's room, I turn the light on, and I'm not kidding, there was an owl. Okay, so new development. There's an owl inside my home. I don't know how it got in. Now I have an owl in the house and I have pizza in the oven that's just about finished. Oh my God, its fucking eye is open. Oh my God, both of its eyes are open. Oh my God. Yeah, so now I have an owl. It appears to be fast asleep, probably because it's had a long day flying around my house eating all my plants. And in case you're wondering, my pizza is done, so it came out perfectly. Perfect timing. That's the exact amount of time to cook a pizza as it takes to catch an owl, believe it or not. Isn't that so weird? Yeah, so I'm gonna go put it outside, I guess. Oh my God. It doesn't want to leave. It's perched on the doghouse. It was the weirdest thing that has ever happened. I swear, this is the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me, ever. An owl in my house, sitting on the window, waiting for me to come home, basically. The owl is back out in nature, and what a very bizarre experience. Pasta dough is done. Look how yellow that is. That is super yellow from the yolks. Beautiful. All right, let's get going on some muffins. I'm making things that require a lot of eggs today because I have an abundance of them right now. This is vanilla that I make myself. Super easy and it tastes really good. Okay, our muffin batter is done, and the sandwich bread is done. The other dough bread, the jalapeno cheddar dough bread, is probably almost done its first rise. So it's time to get the muffins in the oven so we can start on the cookies. Baked goods are something that I stopped buying years ago. I don't know if you ever checked the ingredients or even honestly the price of buying baked goods, like a package of muffins or a package of cookies or something like that. I realize obviously I have to take the time to bake these, but I do know what's in them, and I do know that ingredient-wise it costs way less to make these than it does to buy them. So I have not bought any kind of baked good in probably close to, well, I would say at least 3 years, probably closer to 4. dough is done. So you can see it's basically just a sugar cookie with sprinkles in it. They're called funfetti cookies and the kids seem to love them. And honestly, so do I. Okay, so that was the last cookie. My cookies are all rolled out. My muffins have 2.5 minutes left. My sandwich bread is done, and my jalapeno cheddar bread is ready to put the Dutch oven in the oven to preheat. So I'm gonna wait to cook these. I'll just leave them sit out, they'll be fine, because I really need to get the bread cooked so that we can have supper. So while I wait for my muffins to finish, I'm gonna eat that little bit of cookie dough. Then I'm gonna tidy up this mess and get ready for the bread. Woo, those are hot. All right, so it's time to get our Dutch oven heated up so we can get our bread cooking. Moving right along, I think it's time to do our mini cheesecakes. So I made some yogurt last night and I strained it this morning. So all the whey is out in the bottom, that's what all the liquid is. And now what I'm left with is Greek yogurt. So you can see how thick it is. And that is perfect for our no-bake cheesecakes. Tastes really good. So I make them in these little cups here. They're no-bake cheesecakes, so basically what it is cream cheese mixed with homemade Greek yogurt, a little bit of vanilla, a touch of lemon juice, and a little bit of maple syrup. Then I whip it all up, and it'll go on top of a graham cracker crumble that I'll put in the bottom. And then if the kids want to add blueberries or raspberries or something on top, they can. If not, they can just eat them plain. So I did try it before with homemade yogurt that was not strained. It was not Greek yogurt. And I just used regular yogurt that I made without straining the whey out. It was just super runny and it never set up. So I decided to strain it and try it with Greek yogurt because you can see how thick it is. So it should stay together, but we will find out. This already looks way better. It's way more thick. So I'm just gonna put this in the fridge while I make up the graham cracker crumbs for the jars. Okay, I just cleaned up my yogurt mess here and the oven is going off because my pot is heated. Look at that. So this looks perfect. I'm just going to give it a quick scoop into somewhat of a circle shape. Put a little flour down. So I've got my graham cracker crust in the bottom of the jars, and I'm just gonna add the cheesecake filling on top. And that's pretty much it. No bake cheesecakes in a jar. All right, we're in the home stretch now. It's time to roll out the pasta dough. I've got my bread in the oven and it's just about ready to have the lid taken off for the second bake. My cheesecakes are in the fridge, and really the last thing I have to make is the chia pudding, but I can do that later after dinner if I don't get to it now. I really need to get my pasta cut and I need to make my sauce. Once my bread is done in the oven, then I'll put the cookies in. That's why they're still sitting here. The color on this dough is amazing. I don't know if you can tell because I have horrible lighting in here. It's so yellow, it looks perfect. are down to the last item. I decided to scrap the granola bars. I might do it tomorrow, we'll see, but tonight I am done. I baked a lot of stuff today and it's just been a crazy day, and I did have to clean up all that owl poop, so that took some time. Anyways, the last thing I'm gonna do is the chia pudding. It's super easy, so I'm gonna do that now. I like to make them in these little jars too. They're just really good portion sizes, and I like that they have a screw-on lid so they're not gonna come apart in their bag and make a mess everywhere. All right, it's all mixed up now, and I'm gonna get it in the jars. And it will thicken up overnight. I use mason jars for absolutely everything. I think my kids say they're the only ones that bring mason jars to school, but they can have upwards of like 2, 3, 4 mason jars in their lunch on a day. All right, that's it, into the fridge, and we are officially done for today. Well, that pretty much wraps up this video. I got all my baking done. I got all my snow removal and stuff done today. The animals got taken care of. And basically that's just what a Sunday in the winter on this homestead looks like. So that's pretty much it for this video though. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram @_livingdifferent, where you can stay up to date on what I'm doing all the time. I post on there multiple times a day, and there are tons of recipes and all kinds of other stuff on there. Don't forget to check out the website, www.living-different.com, where you can have a browse through all the products I have to offer on there. There's tons of new things on there, and there's a brand new website with a whole bunch of new products, so check that out. That wraps up this video though, so thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.